So how do you go about picking which films you offer to your customer? Do you offer multiple films, single film options?
Manufacturers don't like it, but I have just I've dipped my toes in everything that I can, and I think that that was a big transition for me from Pennsylvania to Florida. Is that in Pennsylvania, like you had mentioned too, there wasn't a lot of competition. There wasn't a lot of reason why I needed a film to perform a lot more than another, or there wasn't a lot that I was being compared to in a residential situation. I pretty much had one or two samples of Solar Guard. People just they bought from me because they bought from me, and those films worked really well in that climate. And I think I've got myself involved in a lot of different film brands here, and I got I guess in a position of wanting to understand as much as possible about window film, and I tried to figure out ways to test different window film, and I think customers appreciate that little bit of technical knowledge that I can pass along to them about window film. Like I've done the research, I've installed several different brands of film. I feel that there are a few manufacturers that are really good at one type of film. A few manufacturers that are really good at another type of film. There's a couple of like really exceptional types of film that are made by certain manufacturers. I feel like if you have one brand and you say that that's the best of everything, not only are you telling yourself a lie, manufacturers hate that, that they like to say that they're dual reflective, they're ceramic, they're precious metal, or they're IR, like all of their films are all of the best of what they could be. But
Sure.
really, I know certain brands have like a really good precious metal film. Certain brands have a really good ceramic film. Certain brands have really nice, not hazy dual reflective films that have really nice colors versus blues versus, really hazy ones. And
So
obviously, sure, go ahead.
so with that knowledge that you have now of the different films and the specialties of the different brands, if you were to be going back to Pennsylvania, you're back in the exact same scenario where people are buying from you because of you. Do you think, basically what I'm getting at, do you think people in areas like that have the customer base like that, do you think it's still in their best interest to understand the different brands and have that bigger variety, or do you think it's better to keep it simple and just a few films?
Well, there's merit to simplicity in certain markets, and I guess that's the difference between the market I was in Pennsylvania versus Florida, is that that specifically that area you've seen, The Office, the Scranton, that was the closest metropolitan area, and when I left, depending on the part of town, you could find a house for $35,000. I mean,
Wow.
there's Section 8 major parts of the city, and still to this day, this is just how it is. The unemployment is double the national average in that area always.
Wow.
So the wealthy were really more of just upper middle class. So you've got different situations, but also you have, and I'll kind of go back to your question too about the technologies. You've got just one type of glass, one or two types of glass in that market too. You have a dual pane low E window or dual pane clear, and you just have commercial single pane glass. I mean, you really don't have the wide variety of glass types like you do here in Florida. You've got uh, different types of impact windows with low E coatings in different places, some on the outside, some in the impact part, some on a clear pane that floats on the outside of the window. You've got a lot of different, solar absorption scenarios that you need to consider, and certain films are really good for that, and certain films are really bad for that, and you need to have those. This is the best film for this type of impact window. We get amazing results from it. The glass is a nice ambient temperature. It's not overheating. And then your dual pane window over here, this exact type of film is amazing for that. So it's nice to have a bunch of arrows in the quiver.
So where have you found the best resources to pick up all your glass knowledge? And, you know, was it just from being curious, Googling? Was it Facebook? Was it Tint Dude?
Putting film on glass.
Testing, trial and error?
Yeah, well, there's some of that, but then also, you know, tech support, you know, calling in the manufacturer and saying, hey, I've got clear impact glass. You know, I'm the third person bidding on it, and nobody else is putting a dark dual reflective film on it. Can I do it? You know, why can't I do it? Or what do I need to look out for if I do it? And, you know, getting answers from tech support really helped evolve my understanding of what to look for, so I can kind of do my own film to glass analysis, and then just real world, you know, thinking, okay, if I put this film on here, this should be the best film. You know, I should put this precious metal film on this dual pane window. And, you know, sometimes, you know, certain brands of windows, I've been installing all these films in direct sunlight and feeling the difference. You know, obviously all window film is going to make an improvement of some type on the situation, but we felt dramatic differences in it just standing in the sunlight between one film versus another. That's another way. And then we've had situations where contractors are, you know, they're spending $30,000 or $40,000 trying to re-engineer the air conditioning to cool a room, and you know, we come to find that there's a real high absorption film in there. And then you have to tell them, hey, well, we've got the right kind of window film, the proper tint is going to make a huge difference. And then the contractor rips off a panel and says, you know what, we've already made a huge difference just getting rid of it. You know, why would we ever want window tint? So, you know, I said, well, can you give me the time to install samples and do tests and do thermal imaging and take an infrared thermometer and check the glass temperature and, you know, show you that, you know, that wrong tint has generated so much radiant heat on this glass that's caused more of a problem than it's corrected. But over here, where our low absorption film is, you know, you feel cooler, the glass is the same temperature, you know, and doing those, I guess, presentations has taught me a lot, and I've taken as much data as possible when I'm in those situations and pictures, and you know, that's really helped our sales process. And